In today's video, we're going to talk about some disturbing trends that we see that are causing people to have to leave RV life. So we'll discuss those topics and what you can do to avoid becoming the next statistic.
If you've never been here before, welcome. I am Darlene, this is Barry, and we're the Nicholsons, and our channel is called Like There's No Tomorrow. And a little over 2 years ago, we sold everything and hit the road full time. We've seen a lot of people come and go in RV life. We've seen channels that were showing us that we watched when we got going have left. People have just, kind of abandoned the lifestyle, and you kind of start wondering why. And like, I see so many people posting they're selling their rigs, and it's just like, why all of a sudden it feels like more and more there is an exodus of the RV life. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
So one of the probably the number one reason that we see people on Facebook groups and stuff like that, giving the bad news to the group that they're having to leave RV life is for their health, either for themselves or their loved one that they're traveling with can no longer stay on the road because they just can't do it anymore. So that is something that may not always be avoidable, but there are some things that we've seen in our own life to where, we've got them messed up and then we've learned the hard way. Now there's two ways that your health can go. You can either get hurt or she could talk all about that.
Yeah, I can talk all about that.
Or you can, or you can get sick and have some sort of debilitating sort of health, inner health issue that also takes you off the road. So we should probably talk about getting hurt.
Yeah. Well, if you're new to our channel, you probably didn't know this, but I was back about 3 months ago, I think. I fell off our patio and gave myself pretty nasty head and neck injury. Yeah. And it was dumb. I mean, you can walk out your RV door and fall down the steps. You can walk out your regular house door and fall down your steps. So stuff happens, but I think one of the things that the follow-up doctor did tell me is it's a good thing I was in as good a shape and health as I was, because I was able to recover. I mean, you guys saw me. It was ugly. It could have been really, really bad. And I think because I do live a pretty healthy lifestyle, I was able to recover from that. But, accidents can happen, and you just want to make your RV safe and don't do dumb things at night in the dark. So I don't know that sometimes all that can be avoided. But definitely if you can take care of your health as much as you can, it helps you recover from things faster.
Like, again, sometimes these kinds of things are not that avoidable, but if you stay strong and stick with a strength training routine that's properly done. So on that note, when it comes to staying strong and staying fit on the road, you may be wondering, well, how do you guys do it? Well, we made the decision that it didn't make, some RVers, like some popular YouTube channels, here's looking at you, KYD, they have the cool Airstream, the small travel trailer kind of thing, and they whip into those Anytime Fitness parking lots, and they go in there and they've got a membership that they can go anywhere around the country, which is cool, but that just doesn't fit our lifestyle. No. So we thought, for sure, and we knew this from the very beginning because we were gym people. We would go to the gym every other day for years, and if it was difficult to do,
we wouldn't do it.
We would have to travel, or we'd have to drive into town or do it. No, so we ended up purchasing equipment. I bought a set of 100 pounds of dumbbells. They're adjustable dumbbells. We'll put a link down below if you want to see the ones that I have.
And we've talked about that before. I have bands. We have mats. You don't even have to have equipment. I mean, you can do exercise with your own body weight. Yeah. You can walk out your door. I loved it when we were in Colorado because it was really hilly and the walks were really sometimes kind of challenging. There's our hard part, our little hill. You wouldn't think this would be hard for someone who ran several times a week at elevation. And after a head injury, Hugo's not doing a very good job pulling me up either. Come on, buddy. The treble wubba doesn't really love the hard elevation. But you know, there is an activity for everyone. I taught chair yoga to seniors before, so there is no excuse. You can do some sort of physical thing.
Darlene was a personal trainer in a former life,
Yeah,
so she
yeah.
does.
So I mean, again, we don't want to ever come off preachy or anything, but this is just good life stuff, so you can stay on the road longer. So if you can stay strong, you can keep your rig up, you can keep the maintenance up that needs to happen, and you can do really fun stuff for longer because you're physically going to be strong and able to. Now, another lesson that we learned, and that goes along with this, the health taking people off the road, is we both, me, him, and the dog, gained weight the first year.
Yeah, we've all heard of the freshman 15. You know, that 15 pounds that all freshmen gain whenever they go to college. Well, there's certainly a freshman RV 15, probably more than 15. You know, because you know you're excited, you want to go out, you want to explore, and you want to eat at all these incredible restaurants. And me, I love craft beers, and you know, the more alcohol, the more calories they have.
And I don't know about y'all, but don't you think campfire means drink in hand? You know, so all those calories, when it's a lot of most nights, you know, kind of thing, it adds up. So the biggest thing I always tell people is, you're not, especially if you're full-time, you're not on vacation. This is not a weekend thing. This is your life. So you have to find some balance and some moderation. And I think that's really, I mean, I tend to do all the cooking, all the shopping, so he really doesn't have a choice what he eats. I'm just going to make it for him. But when we go out, that's usually when we do the most damage, and it was adding up for sure. So now that we're 2 years plus a few months in, we have definitely slowed the roll on a lot of that stuff, because it's not sustainable. We're just going to feel worse, not sleep as well, gain weight. And that is not what we wanted for this lifestyle. This was a big positive move to go full time. So we want to keep that balance. But we do have our moments where we splurge and things like that. It's, you know, that's part of the lifestyle as well. But I think finding your balance is going to be the key to you not being the one selling your rig because your health took up. So the next thing that we see that's causing people to leave the RV life is the costs.
Okay, so we all know that things have gotten more expensive. I mean, we just have, at least at the time this video was created, you know, we've dealt with a lot of inflation in this country. And that is certainly true in RV life. Let's look at campgrounds, for instance. You know, when we started, I mean, you book all the campgrounds. What have you seen? Yeah,
when we started, just a basic RV resort, you know, would be $40, $50 for a decent one. And now those decent ones are 60, 75, even 80 a night. And so that has been something that changed tremendously since we first got going. And, you know, you can try for, I think because of that, the state parks and national parks are booked so much more. And they're harder to get into especially for long stays at all. It's because people are freaking out because the regular campgrounds are getting so expensive that they're moving towards the cheaper thing, because it is cheaper in state parks, or partial hookups will always be cheaper. But you can do extended stays, but that's not how we RV. So it really just depends on your style and your vibe. You know, if you want to stay at a place a month, you're definitely going to get it a little cheaper. But overall, the costs are just up. Especially if you're thinking about full-time RV life, really do your research and understand how much things are costing now, and have room for them to cost more, because at the rate it's going, they're just going to keep going up. And that is just, it's becoming harder. It's half of the reason we have decided to boondock more, because we don't have to have that landlord anymore. You know, we can basically be off grid and not have to pay.
Because we're telling you that if you don't want to be one of these people that it's a victim when you're on the road of being like basically getting priced out of it, then you need to think in terms of, how can I not be so dependent on RV campgrounds and enable myself to go to a spot where I don't have any hookups and be able to stay for a week,
Yeah.
maybe longer.
Because I mean, the nice thing is you can actually budget that way. So if you have the ability to be, off grid, or very little charge for a campground because you're on your own systems for a week or two, then it makes that more expensive RV park stay for another week or two that month half the price. You think about it, if you spread that over, that's half the cost you would have had. So you don't even have to do it all the time, even if you balanced out the cost of things. But just be aware of that pricing, because I think the biggest thing that I see happening is this lifestyle is getting too expensive. So yeah. I now need to come off the road. But there are solutions out there. We have adjusted. I mean, if our budget from 2023 is completely different than our budget now. And we are able to live at a much lower budget level. And so, but we're still happy. We're still traveling. We're still doing the stuff. So sometimes you just have to, and if you don't know about full-time life and you're wanting to know, we do have a budget spreadsheet, and I have like a video on that, and I'll throw it on the screen and put it in the description, that may help you kind of guide you through all the different things that you might not be thinking about as having to spend the money on in full-time life. That may help give you a better picture. Even though your numbers are maybe different than ours, it will give you the categories that you need to be thinking about. Another thing in the area of costs is gas, right? The more you travel, the more miles you hit the road, how fast you go will determine how much your gas pricing is going to be. So we actually use a couple of different discount programs, mainly the Open Roads TST card. That probably saves us the most. In our budget video, I talk a lot about how much it saved us. It was significant.
But that's only on diesel fuel, though, right?
Yeah, that's diesel. Yeah, but there's all kinds of other Gas Buddy and different gas programs that you can get if you're not diesel. But get and research that, because that little bit, might be $20 on a full fill up. That's a lot if you're doing that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And and plus, the more you travel, obviously the more gas you're going to go through, but the more wear and tear you're going to put on your truck and your RV. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these, we watch a lot of YouTube channels because we still work full time. So we like to stay places 2 weeks, preferably, a week at the least. But we
go slower.
Yeah,
we're not going like across the country kind of stuff very often. We're 2 to 3, 4 hours tops to the next place. Like I don't like to jump very far unless we have like a destination we have to be at. Yeah,
we see a lot of other influencers. They're putting a lot of mileage on their, now granted, they're basically creating content for a living, which is cool. And maybe we'll get to that point sometime. I don't know. But if they're putting a lot more miles on there, that means they're going through a lot more tires. They're going through, and they're potentially going to put a lot more, wear and tear on their suspension systems, which of course we all know that those things can go bad and cause a lot of problems. And we're not criticizing that lifestyle, but we're more relating that to you. If you're thinking in terms of like, oh, I want to move every 3 days. Yeah. That's cool. Knock yourself out, man. But just realize that that's going to put a lot of wear and tear on your vehicle and your RV.
And again, going down to the budgeting of your gasoline and your fuel systems, just have a realistic expectation of what, if you're going to full time, what that really means. I mean, if you're just going on short trips and stuff like that, that you're willing to take that. It's like a vacation. It's a getaway. But when you're a huge part of your budget, you'll do what you can and that's why I came back to, some people do try to stay places longer so they're not traveling as far, and that may be something for you to consider. We get itchy after 2 weeks, like usually, unless it's a killer spot.
Probably because I don't shower very much. No, I get really itchy.
This is boondocking. No, but yeah, I crave the new place, kind of thing. So you have to figure out what's right for you, and then that will help you budget for fuel. Another area it's rising. We've seen it rise since we've been on the road, is insurance. Car insurance, RV insurance. If you keep a home, your home insurance. It's like crazy. It's across the board,
Yeah,
and
and we're from Florida, and
the worst.
because of all the hurricanes and all that stuff. I mean, our domicile address is still in Florida. It was an easy thing to do because we lived there anyway. Um, Now we're seriously considering maybe changing our domicile just to lower our car insurance
Yeah,
rates.
because our car insurance. I'm now given we have a young driver. Our daughter is on our policy, so she's 21. So that was killing us. So I usually reassess it every year. I even reassess the RV insurance every year to see if I can get a better rate. Right now, Progressive wins on the RV insurance every year. I try to get a better rate, and for that coverage or the coverage I'm getting, it's been the winner. But the car insurance is something we're really considering changing the domicile for. But you have to take in a lot of consideration with that, with whatever state is there state tax. You have regulations you need to do that you didn't have to. It's Florida, South Dakota, and Texas.
Leave a comment below if you have a Texas or a South Dakota domicile.
Yeah, how's that going for you?
How was the process? How'd you get signed
Did
up?
you move?
Yeah.
Is that because that's something we're really thinking about doing? We use Escapees for our domicile, and their service for that. But I just didn't want to have my mom or my sister and stuff like that be my address. I don't want to go there. I want to be self-sufficient. I want to have my own thing. So so those are the ones we're thinking about. So let us know if you got the hookup on that. So yes, costs are definitely on the rise. We can't do anything right now about this inflation. Hopefully it's going to get better soon, but you need to be prepared, because that kind of stuff is what takes full-time RVers off the road because they're not prepared for it.
Today's video is sponsored by Onnais keyless RV door locks. Now let me tell you, we're big fans of these things, but we felt like we really hadn't had the right brand. We've actually had, this is our third. So this is the first model that we got. We originally got these for both doors. And what these enable you to do, and this is why we're big fans of them. For one, you can open your door with a key fob. These always have key fobs. Of course, they have just regular keys as well, but then they also have passcodes. Now, that has a lot of advantages. So, number one, of course, is if you lose your keys, right? Then you're not locked out of your RV as long as you can remember what the passcode is. Another one would be, maybe you've heard of situations, we do talk a lot about pet safety on our channel. And, there have been situations where we've heard about where people will use these types of locks, and they're able to, if there's a problem at the RV park, if they lose power at the RV park and they want to get their pet, they're far away and want to get their pet in safety, they can contact the RV park, and they can say, hey, would you please go to our RV? Here's the passcode to get into the RV, so they don't need a key and they can get to the pet and get them to safety. Another thing, of course, we like it for, we occasionally have our kids visit us, and of course they don't have keys to the RV. Sometimes they might want to come back. We're not here. We just tell them the code and they're able to get in, no problem. So we really do like these. Now, and you may have seen, RV doors or RV door locks are not the most secure thing in the world, right? The ones that come on the RVs is when you buy them. So it is definitely something where you want to upgrade. I'm not going to say that these are like the most rock solid iron, clad things. If somebody really wants to get into your RV, they could probably bust through one of these, but it probably maybe looks a little bit more intimidating. This is a lot more heavy duty. Okay, so the first brand we ever bought was one called Carmtech, and we had these installed on both doors. Let me tell you about the problem about that. Notice how these numbers are starting to fade. These numbers are starting to come off. So that was one of the things with our front door, they came off completely. We, over time, because obviously we were using it all the time, right? And so we were pretty turned off by that idea. And so we just ended up replacing this. Now, we did replace it with a brand called Latchet. Problem with Latchet, their lock works fine. They don't make them anymore. So at least we can't find them on Amazon anymore. They do make a different door lock, but they do not make the keyless RV door locks. So we were contacted by Onnais. This company originally started as creating lockers for you know what. So they're in the security business, And it's so far so good. This looks really heavy duty. I think that these numbers are printed on here. So that's definitely a bonus. So hopefully these numbers will not wear off. And it just seems more robust, like it's going to last a lot longer, because I'm sure that, with the sun beating down and the weather, um, you know, these things do take somewhat of a beating, so they need to be well made. The other big thing that I do like about these is these have a low battery reminder on them, because they do take 4 AA batteries typically. This one also does, and it did not have the battery monitor on it, and so the batteries kind of, because you could forget they're in there, and they corroded, and I think that kind of permanently screwed it up, and now it just doesn't work. So we needed a replacement, so we wanted to give this Onnais a try. I'm not going to bore you with an installation video. I'm sure that there are those on YouTube, but we will take a look at this after we install it and see how it works. All right, well, here we are, guys. We got this installed. It's the following day, and it took me about 20-25 minutes. I got to say that the instructions actually were really good. The paper instructions, and then they actually have a video that you can QR code your way to the video, and it's really good. So yeah, kudos for that. So let me just show you real quickly how it works. So there's a number of different ways that you can get into your RV. Definitely the easiest way is the key fob. Okay, so let's lock it first. Locked. It's got a little light on it too. You can't really see it too well, but then just unlock. No big deal. And they actually give you 2 key fobs, which of course you would want to program both of them. Now you also notice that it has this little thing that's popping out here. I think that's a keychain. But what's interesting too is it actually has a little key. That's where the key goes. So you do have a physical key. So you've got this right here, so you can be sure that in case, if the battery's dead or something, you can always get in. Now, I got to say, one little criticism I would have is that I think this key fob's pretty big. If you have a bunch of stuff on a keychain, like I tend to do, then I'm going to have to figure out, now one thing that I did notice in their instructions, we don't have it set up this way, but if you did have more than one of these locks, like you had, one on each door, you can actually program these key fobs to open both of them at the same time. So that would be convenient. So that way, you and your spouse could just each have one, and it would open both doors in the RV at the same time. That would be kind of cool. As far as using the keypad to lock it, all you have to do is hit the Onnais button. You notice that it locked super fast. And then of course you would just use your password to unlock, and then you hit the check box or hit the check mark, and you're good to go. Super easy. So here's the other side. As you can see, you've got a latch on here that you can pull on to be able to shut your door as normal, and then you can always latch it by hand at night when you're about ready to go to bed. And then it also has a child lock thing on it, which is a unique feature that I hadn't seen before on the other locks, which it basically makes it to where nobody else from the outside, they can't reprogram your door or do anything like that when you have this child lock on. An added safety feature. So overall, I'm really pleased with it. It was super easy to install. So we want to thank Onnais for being our sponsor for this video. And as members of our community who are watching these videos, you can get a great discount code. We'll put the information down below in the comments. And they're giving a great deal for our members. And this product is priced already lower than what we've paid for the other 2 sets of locks that we've had. And thus far, I'm just as impressed, if not more impressed, with this product than I have been with the other 2 that we've owned. So go get one for yourself, or more than one. And thanks for watching. Another big reason that people are leaving this lifestyle is that they're just tired of all the maintenance and repairs that they have to do to their RVs and or their trucks.
The time and the money.
Yeah, exactly. And I can absolutely relate to that. I mean, I've never felt like, oh, I want to leave this because I'm having to do so much work. But one thing that I've definitely felt, because again, I have a full-time day job. I work Monday through Friday. And, when I get off work, I'm just like anybody that gets off work. I don't want to work anymore. I want to do something other than work, but there's always something that needs to be fixed, something that needs to be maintained, or some sort of thing that you're supposed to do. honeydew. I guess
It's not on me. It just breaks.
She got the long honeydew list. There's never a trip that goes by that she doesn't come up
I think it's
holding a screw and going, I found this in the, just name the room, like.
I know. And it really does come down to your attitude towards that kind of stuff. If it's not keeping us from moving, it can wait, kind of thing. We don't kill ourselves. We got a panel falling down. Okay, we'll get there. Put a tape on it for now. It's just like, what's most important? Let's make sure we're safe. Make sure those things are fixed. All these little ticky-tacky things, we'll just put them on the list. And as we get to them, we get to them. And I feel like if I can do it, I'll fix it. But there's a lot of it he has to do, or it's kind of his thing. So it does wear you down, and it does cost a lot of money sometimes. And you just have to have that. I feel like I see a lot of people comment in Facebook groups of like, they're losing their, over little things. And I know, especially people who buy these nice new rigs, or you spend a lot of money and you expect it to be up to par, and I hear you, but you're gonna drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, these things, let's be honest, these things are not meant to dish out the abuse that we dish out on. Even our rig, it's not necessarily meant to live in full time. They're really not. And so you almost have to kind of lower your expectations a little bit. All you can do is kind of hope that the big stuff doesn't break. We hope and pray that our slides don't break.
Yeah.
And when we had the crack, which you could go back and watch that video, we had the crack on the side. We were so afraid that we had the frame flex issue. We did not. And the problem that was caused, or the problem that there was, they fixed it at the Alliance factory, but we had to drive literally all the way from Southern California back to Northern Indiana to, because they only had a certain amount of time that they could give us to repair it. But here's the other big thing there, is that the other huge complaints that we see from people in these groups is people talking about taking their RVs to, like an RV dealership.
For repair.
We have never taken our RV to a dealership for repair. I half the time forget the name of the dealership that we bought ours.
I've never been there again.
It was back it's like in the Tampa area, and I certainly don't remember the name of the guy that sold it to us. And so it's because, why would you take your RV to a place where they could hold on to it for 6 weeks or longer? That's not even feasible for us.
No,
this
if you're living in it full time, that's not even that was why we drove from California to Elkhart, because I tried to find service places that Alliance suggested that were in that part of the country, and no one would say, okay, we can get you in on this date and we're going to have it for a week. None of them. They will not commit to that. And so as a full-time RVer, I can't be stuck in an Airbnb for a month.
No.
And I've heard people that did. And so, these are the kind of things that I think weigh heavy on people. But for us, we have just decided, we chose Alliance. They're not perfect, but we chose them because they did have good customer service and had a good reputation of doing the right thing. And so when we've needed a serious repair, I will communicate to them through their system, and we will come together to, okay, what do we need to do? It was big enough, we had to take it back to the factory. Okay, we're going to make that happen. Or we're going to send a mobile tech, and we approve this much. Let's get somebody out to help you where you're at.
Yeah.
And so there's ways around some of that whole, I hear that frustration in people's voice of, they've had my rig for this long, and you're just, it's out of your hands when you do it a lot of times that way. Sometimes you don't have a choice. And if you're not full time and you have the option of just leaving it there for them to repair, but there's no fire under their butt to get it done. And so we have chose the mobile tech route. It gives us a lot more peace of mind to just, if it's beyond ourselves. So, which comes to another thing, is you need to learn how to fix that thing so you're not spending all the money on it.
Yeah. Mobile techs are great. We have had really nothing but good experiences with them. They're not cheap. They're $150 an hour, typically ish, 125, but And plus, they a lot of times, if they're not necessarily close by, they're going to have to charge you for travel time, stuff like that. And just being fair, it's fair. That's what they charge. That's the going rate. So definitely, if you have even the least ability, try to fix things yourself. One of the best investments you can make before you ever even hit the road is a good toolbox or a good tool set. And not that you can't get tools out on the road. Lord knows, I've spent tons of time at Ace Hardware and Home Depot, going and buying stuff to fix it myself. But do your level best to do it yourself. There's tons of great YouTube videos, and there's the National RV Training Academy, the NRVTA. They actually have a training course that if you want to get into learning how to do this stuff yourself, and by God, I'm not going to pay $150 an hour to have some guy come out to my RV and fix it. You can learn to fix this stuff yourself.
And they have 2 levels. They have 2 levels of courses. So I think for whatever budget and ability, we just went with the lower one. But you can look it up by system. I mean, if you have a plumbing issue, then you can go to that part of that course. And it is a great. And I'll put the links in the description, because it is a great tool to have to save you some money in the end if you can just make that repair yourself. And I just wanted to encourage, not that this is a diss on my husband or anything. He was not the super fix-it handy guy when we had our house. We would just call somebody because we didn't have time, and time is money when you're working full time. But in this lifestyle, we have had to become handy, and so if you're not the handiest person, just know that there's instruction out there. There's things like the NRVTA. There's YouTube videos. You can learn, figure it out. And if you're picking the right manufacturer, sometimes they will really help walk you through certain things too. So that's really helpful. So don't let those maintenance, repairs, and costs and time wear you down and want you to come off the road. We want you to be able to get back out there and enjoy rather than working on your rig all the time.
So we hope we've hit on some points and given you some food for thought. If you're thinking about getting into this lifestyle, or if you're thinking about getting out of this lifestyle, or if you know somebody who is, leave those comments down below. We'd like to hear your stories, what your concerns are. Maybe there's something that we didn't really talk about. We do want to encourage you to get healthy, stay healthy, eat healthy, all those kinds of things, so you can, stay on the road longer. Watch your money. If you hadn't really thought in terms of boondocking before, or investing in some solar, or getting to where you could be more self-sufficient, give it some thought. If you have questions about it, leave questions down below. We'd love to help people do this, because it's about empowering yourself is what a lot of this has been about.
And I'll put a link to our solar video. That may help you as well. We have a whole series on boondocking. So if you're not familiar with the ins and outs of that, go watch some of those videos. It might introduce you to something you might be interested in.
All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.